At 63, Nina Simone thought she was done with love. She had survived 2 failed marriages, decades of heartbreak, and endless betrayal. But then she met a young Tunisian man who would ignite a passion so intense it nearly killed her. Tonight, I am revealing the lost love letters that document the most dangerous affair of Nina's life, letters that she begged to be burned, but somehow survived. In 2018, 15 years after Nina Simone's death, a construction crew renovating an old villa in Carrillarouet, France, made a discovery that would shock the music world. Hidden behind a false wall in what had been Nina's bedroom, they found a metal box containing 247 handwritten letters, dozens of photographs, and a single audio cassette labeled "For My Eyes Only, Destroy After My Death." Nina had failed to destroy these letters before she died, or perhaps in her heart she wanted them to survive. Because these weren't just love letters, they were the raw, unfiltered confession of a woman who had lost everything, including her mind, for love. The letters document 8 months in 1996 and 1997 that Nina later called "my beautiful suicide attempt." They reveal an affair so passionate, so destructive, that it makes her previous relationships look like innocent childhood crushes. And at the center of it all was a 27-year-old Tunisian artist named Karim Hassan, a man whose very existence Nina tried to erase from history. But these letters reveal something else, something that explains why Nina was so desperate to hide this relationship. Because what happened between her and Karim wasn't just an affair, it was psychological warfare disguised as love. And Nina Simone, the woman who had stared down FBI agents and racist audiences, was completely defenseless against it. Letter number 1, dated March 15, 1996. I met the devil today, and he has beautiful eyes. That's how Nina began her first letter about Karim. She was 63, living quietly in the south of France, trying to forget a lifetime of pain. He was 27, a struggling artist from Tunisia who claimed he had dreamed about her before they met. Their encounter wasn't romantic, it was predatory. Karim had researched Nina for weeks before approaching her at a small gallery in Cannes. He knew about her loneliness, her financial struggles, her desperate need to feel beautiful again. He had studied her like a hunter studies prey. Letter number 7, dated March 22nd. He paints me like I'm 25 again. When I look at his canvases, I see the woman I used to be. Is this what resurrection feels like, or am I just dying more beautifully? Karim was a master manipulator. He painted Nina constantly, but the portraits were lies. They showed her young, vibrant, sexually powerful. He told her she was his muse, his inspiration, the love of his life. He made her believe that, despite everything she had lost, her career, her health, her homeland, she was still capable of inspiring great passion. But Nina's letters revealed the truth that she couldn't see at the time. Karim wasn't falling in love with her, he was systematically breaking down her psychological defenses. Letter number 23, dated April 18th. He says, I'm too paranoid, that my fear of being used has made me suspicious of real love. He's right. I've been hurt so many times, I can't recognize genuine affection anymore. Maybe this is my chance to trust again. This is textbook manipulation. Karim convinced Nina that her natural protective instincts were character flaws. He made her feel ashamed of being cautious, guilty for questioning his motives. Slowly, he isolated her from the few friends she had left. But the real horror of this relationship wasn't emotional, it was financial. Because while Nina was falling in love, Karim was systematically stealing everything she had left, and the letters show that Nina knew it was happening, but couldn't stop herself from letting it continue. Letter number 45, dated June 3rd. He took another $10,000 today. Said his mother was dying in Tunisia and needed surgery. I know he's lying. I've known since the second time he asked for money. But when he looks at me with those beautiful, desperate eyes, I can't say no. What does it matter anyway? Money can't buy me another face, another body, another chance at love. Nina was hemorrhaging money. Karim had convinced her to finance his art career, to pay for his visa extensions, to support his family in Tunisia. But the money wasn't going where he claimed. Nina's private investigator, yes, she hired one, discovered that Karim was sending most of the cash to a girlfriend in Paris and using the rest to fund a luxurious lifestyle. Letter number 67, dated July 21st. I confronted him about the Paris girl. He didn't deny it, just looked at me with pity and said, "What did you expect, Nina, that a man my age would be faithful to a woman your age?" The truth of it hit me like a physical blow. But even as he was destroying me, I wanted him, God help me, I still wanted him. This is when Nina began to unravel completely. She started drinking heavily, taking pills, having violent mood swings. Her neighbors in France reported hearing screaming matches that lasted for hours, followed by sounds that were even more disturbing, the sounds of passionate reconciliation. The most shocking letters date from this period. Nina's handwriting becomes erratic, her thoughts disconnected. She writes about sexual encounters in graphic detail, describing herself as addicted to Karim's body despite knowing that every touch was a transaction. Letter number 89, dated August 15th. He makes love to me like I'm paying him for it, which I suppose I am. But even prostitutes pretend to enjoy it. Karim doesn't even bother with that courtesy. Yet I can't stop. My body betrays me every time. I am 63 years old, and I am acting like a teenager with her first crush. The shame is killing me faster than the heartbreak. But the worst was yet to come. Because Nina wasn't just losing her money and her dignity, she was losing her mind. And Karim, rather than backing away from her obvious mental breakdown, decided to push her even further over the edge. Letter number 134, dated September 28th. He brought her here, to my house. To my bed. Her name is Celine, she's 19, and she's everything I used to be, young, beautiful, unbroken. Karim says he needs us both, that love shouldn't be limited by society's rules. I agreed. God forgive me. I agreed because I was so terrified of losing him that I was willing to share him rather than let him go entirely. This is when Nina's mental health completely collapsed. She began hallucinating, convinced that Karim's young girlfriend was plotting to kill her. She stopped eating, stopped bathing, stopped leaving her villa. Her few remaining friends were so alarmed that they contacted Nina's daughter Lisa, begging her to intervene. Letter number 156, dated October 12th. Lisa came today. She took one look at me and started crying. I must look like a ghost. I feel like one. Karim wasn't here. He and Celine are in Paris, spending my money on hotel rooms and expensive restaurants. Lisa says she's taking me to a hospital. I don't have the strength to fight her anymore. Nina spent 6 weeks in a psychiatric facility in Nice. The doctors diagnosed her with severe depression, anxiety, and what they called acute psychological trauma from emotional abuse. But even from her hospital bed, Nina continued writing to Karim. Letter number 178, dated October 30th. The doctors say, "You're bad for me." They use words like predator and emotional vampire, but they don't understand. You didn't create the darkness in me, you just showed me how deep it goes. For 8 months, I felt alive again. Even if it was killing me, I was alive. Isn't that better than being safely dead? When Nina was finally released from the hospital, she made a decision that shocked everyone who knew her. She decided to confront Karim one final time. But what she discovered during this confrontation was more devastating than anything that had come before. Letter number 201, dated December 15th. I went to Paris today, found them at the hotel I had been paying for. Karim wasn't surprised to see me. He was expecting me. I wondered when you'd figure it out, he said. That's when I realized this had all been planned from the beginning. The art gallery where we met, he had paid the owner to let him display his work there on the days I usually visited Cannes. The painting that looked like me. He had copied it from a photograph. Everything, every kiss, every touch, every word of love had been calculated. Nina discovered that she hadn't been Karim's first elderly victim. There had been others, lonely, wealthy women who had fallen for his routine. He had a system, a pattern. He would research his targets, discover their vulnerabilities, then exploit them systematically until they had nothing left to give. Letter number 212, dated December 20th. He showed me photographs today, pictures of the other women, German, English, American, all of them old, all of them rich, all of them desperate for love. He keeps the photos like trophies. You weren't special, Nina, he said. You were just the richest and the most famous. But in the end, you're all the same pathetic old women trying to buy love from men who could never want you for anything but your money. But Nina Simone hadn't survived decades in the music industry by being weak. Even broken and humiliated, she was still dangerous when cornered. Letter number 225, dated December 25th. I told him I was going to expose him, warn the other women, go to the police. He laughed. Who would believe you? He said. A crazy old woman who fell for an obvious scam. You'll just humiliate yourself further. But he underestimated me. I may be old, and I may be foolish, But I am still Nina Simone, and I do not go down without a fight. Nina hired private investigators in 3 countries. She contacted Interpol. She used her remaining influence to have Karim's visa revoked and his assets frozen. But within 6 months, he was back in Tunisia, broke and blacklisted from entering most European countries. But it was a Pyrrhic victory. Nina had destroyed her tormentor, but she had destroyed herself in the process. Letter number 247, dated February 14th, 1997. It's Valentine's Day, and I'm alone, as I should be, as I deserve to be. I gave away everything, my money, my dignity, my sanity, for 8 months of feeling young again. Was it worth it? Ask me tomorrow, and I'll say no. Ask me tonight, in the darkness, and I'll tell you the truth. I would do it all again. Because for 8 months, I wasn't Nina Simone, the legend, the symbol, the cautionary tale. I was just a woman in love. And that woman, foolish as she was, felt more alive than I had in decades. This is Nina's final letter about Karim. After this, she never wrote about him again, never spoke his name, never acknowledged that he had existed. She spent the remaining 6 years of her life trying to rebuild what he had destroyed: her finances, her reputation, her sense of spirit. But there's one more secret hidden in these letters. Something that explains why Nina was so desperate to hide this relationship, why she preferred to be remembered as bitter and alone, rather than as a woman who had been broken by love. In several letters, Nina mentions being pregnant. At 63, it should have been impossible. But she writes about doctor visits, about ultrasounds, about the terrible choice she had to make. Letter number 98, dated August 28th. The baby would have been a girl. I would have named her Hope. Ironic, isn't it? But I couldn't bring a child into this madness, couldn't give Karim another way to control me. The procedure was painful, but not as painful as the knowledge that I had created life with someone who was slowly killing me. Nina Simone had an abortion at 63 because she could not bear to have a child with a man she knew was destroying her. This secret, more than the money, more than the humiliation, was what she couldn't live with. And it explains why, in her final years, she spoke so often about wanting to die. Nina Simone died in 2003, 6 years after her affair with Karim ended. She never had another romantic relationship. When asked by friends why she remained alone, she would say only, "I've used up my quota of love for one lifetime." But these letters reveal a different truth. Nina didn't avoid love because she was afraid of being hurt again. She avoided it because she was afraid of what love revealed about her. That beneath the fierce exterior, beneath the righteous anger and the artistic genius, she was just a woman who wanted to be wanted even if it destroyed her. The last document in the hidden box wasn't a letter, it was a poem written in Nina's handwriting just months before her death. They will remember me as angry, as fierce, as uncompromising. They will never know that I gave it all away for 8 months of beautiful lies whispered by a beautiful liar. Perhaps that's better. Perhaps it's kinder to let them think I was never weak, never foolish, never desperate for love that was never real, but I was all of those things. And for 8 months, I was gloriously, devastatingly human. The story of Nina Simone and Karim Hassan isn't just about a celebrity being scammed. It's about the universal human need to be loved and how that need can make even the strongest among us vulnerable. Nina Simone, who had faced down the FBI and racist audiences, who had stood on stages and demanded justice, was ultimately defeated not by hatred, but by the promise of love. These letters remind us that legends are still human, that even the strongest woman can be broken by the right manipulation, that love, real or fake, can be the most dangerous drug of all. Nina Simone's greatest tragedy wasn't that she died alone in a foreign country. It was that she lived her final years knowing that she had traded everything, her money, her dignity, her peace of mind, for a love that was never real. But perhaps, in those 8 months of beautiful delusion, she experienced something that had been missing from her life for decades. The simple joy of being wanted, even if it was for all the wrong reasons. And maybe, just maybe, that was worth the price she paid.